o'clock.
Thank you, darling. Hello, hello, hello. Daniel, my British friend in my computer told me it's 9 o'clock. Hi, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I like to talk about how I lost 97.4 pounds starting using the ketogenic protocol, how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life, like I did. Hope you're well. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your Saturday. Hope you can see everything. Am I too dark? Okay. Lighting. Okay. If someone can let me know that you can see and hear me, thank you very much, Scott. You beat me to it. Yes, can see and hear you, Casey. Thank you. Today's topic is, as the title implies, do I, and I'm talking for myself here, it's keto and me, do I ever slip? And I hear from many people, and they will share their stories and their challenges and everything else, and they will share that I do fine until, and then some event happens, some emotion percolates to the top, a holiday happens, or their resistance is low for whatever reason, and they slip up. So they might be chugging along, keeping their carbs low, not eating if not hungry. So, and I will repeat the protocol as I learned it and as I have practiced it all these 8.5+ years. And then something will happen, and then they're not keeping the carbs low, and they are eating when they're not hungry, and so, and then I'll be asked, so did that ever happen to you? First of all, let me share the protocol as I learned it. For those of you who don't know my backstory, I was overweight, obese, and morbidly obese starting in my mid-20s. And then in my mid-50s, I had given up on trying to lose weight as I had been doing all those decades. But I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. So I Googled how to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes. Came across the white coat video of Dr. Eric Westman of Duke University, who I'm happy and proud to say is now a friend of mine. And it was, keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer. If it's not on page 4, link below. Don't eat it. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop when you're satiated. I'm not sure he said all of those things that way, but that is how I've practiced it. I've added one, be patient. So keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer, total, not net. Okay, so that's the protocol. Have I ever fallen off the wagon, slipped? I've been asked, do I ever have a cheat meal or a cheat day? No, 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 and no. But that's since I started this time. I knew low carb worked for me in 1977. I was a sophomore in college. I put on a few little pounds, and I wanted to take it off. Got a copy of the Atkins Diet Revolution book, did the induction piece for a couple of weeks, lost the weight, threw the book away. But I was 19, then I was in my 20s, and I didn't have to worry about such things. And this was kind of before the low fat thing really took hold. And then I kind of revisited low carb a couple of times throughout the ensuing decades. The most dramatic one being in the early 2000s when I really did it. I just went right back to induction. This was before it was called low carb, high fat, before it was LCHF, before it was ketogenic, before it was any of that stuff. It was just the induction period of Atkins, which essentially is what the ketogenic protocol, the page 4, so-called page 4 protocol is. Dr. Westman will tell you. Page 4, Jackie Eberstein helped him drill down. That's essentially the food from the Atkins Center. Anywho, so I did it in the early 2000s, maybe 2003, 2000, something like that. And I was really heavy then. I mean, really, I was at my heaviest weight, which is 115.5 pounds, off of, my weight loss. And I did okay. I lost 25 or 30 pounds. People around me were amazed. Oh my gosh, you're scraping the toppings off the pizza. You're not eating the crust. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Again, this was before keto or before there was an onslaught of information about it. And then I had one of those things that people say. Then life came at me. I had a disappointing, problematic diagnosis, medical diagnosis, one of several I've had. And this one was like smack in the middle, and it irritated me. And I decided, what the heck? I'm gonna have a bagel. I'd gotten the diagnosis, like, in 5 minutes later, I'm looking at this pyramid of bagels in the break room at the office. I said, "I'm having a bagel." Well, so I did, and that led to mashed potatoes, and it led to tortilla chips, and it led to I immediately, put the weight back on, and I still had cancer. So, yes, I have so-called slipped previously. Not since this time. I don't know whether I was really highly motivated to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes. I had not yet been diagnosed with type 2. And I knew it was coming. And I didn't want that. All the other problematic medical diagnoses, I had kind of rolled with the punches, but I didn't want that. So I don't know whether my motivation was for health and not cosmetics. I don't know. But no, since I started this, no, I have not slipped. I have not said, let me just have a little bit of this because I have to be an abstainer. This is something I have learned about myself. I have to be an abstainer when it comes to food that got me sick and fat in the first place, not a moderator. Some people can have a bite of this and move on. I don't want to fight with my brain about food anymore. So, no, I have not. Now, that doesn't mean that my life rolls along beautifully. That doesn't mean that I always make the best decisions in every aspect of my life. And it doesn't mean that I haven't eaten more fuel than I require. So, part of this is, don't eat if you're not hungry, which involves listening to the body. True hunger is different than brain hunger. When you're a sugar burner, burning glucose for fuel, as opposed to a fat burner, burning ketones for fuel, the signals about so-called hunger are different. The brain will call for more glucose because it can't be stored. But if you're burning fat for fuel, brain is happy. You can go a long time. And uh, one of the great aspects of this is when you're burning fat for fuel and the food is delicious and satisfying, it naturally suppresses appetite and hunger, which I think of as two different things, appetite and hunger. I don't know if you can hear, I think our dog Jack, I think he's snoring in the background. Sorry, I put him to sleep. I have the same effect I have a soporific effect on my husband as well. So, where was I? Lost my train of thought. Squirrel. Anywho, so it suppresses appetite. So then you have to learn what actual hunger feels like. I've been practicing something that I've been preaching for a long time, but I'm pushing the peckishness. Peckish means I could eat. I'm peckish right now. I'm pushing it further because I feel better. I have a weight range. It's not a huge weight range. It's up or down 2.5 or 3 pounds. Here's the point, up or down 2.5 or 3 pounds. I'm okay with that. But I prefer to be in the middle or lower. I don't love hanging out at the top of that range. So I have started pushing the peckishness further. I think I'm getting very dark. Hold, please. Is that better? The sun is now coming in from behind me. Um, so yeah, I don't struggle with it, but I am practicing not eating if I'm not hungry and stopping when I'm satiated. This is all a practice. And I eat less food than I did a year ago, a year and a half ago, certainly a whole lot less than I did when I started. It was all page 4 compliant, and I ate a lot of it because I could, because I was essentially 100 pounds heavier. And I was 8.5 years younger. Now I require less fuel, stage of life, body composition, et cetera, et cetera. Have I ever slipped? Not this time. Why? Because for one thing, I feel great. So, sometimes we disengage logic. Yes, I know. I feel great, and all this stuff happened. I'm sleeping better. My joints don't hurt, and I came off 2 medications. But I really, really like French fries, so I think I'll just have some. Okay, first of all, there's no nutrition in French fries. There's none. Sorry, none. They're cheap. And one reason they're cheap is because they don't have any value. So we eat the French fries and then, oh, my joints start hurting again. I hear from people who they have like a thing of French fries or a few pretzels. Joint pain immediately comes back. They immediately start needing their emergency asthma inhaler again. They feel bloated. They get a headache. So we need to employ logic. We need to eat food that nourishes us, that is satisfying, that helps us remain strong. And we need to recognize which foods do the opposite of that. And it's mostly what we've been eating is the opposite of that. So I am not a super person. I am not a particularly disciplined person. I just felt miserable and I didn't want to feel that way anymore. And I thought, I don't want to live another 35 or 40 years or however long I've got feeling the way I felt, like a failure, like a really smart, high achieving failure, if that makes sense. Because I just couldn't get in front of that obesity thing. But I did. So no, I don't slip. I chew our food, what we put in our mouths, are one of the few things over which we have power and control. Almost nothing else in our lives can we just say, yeah, I'm in charge of that. What I put in my mouth is my decision. Nobody else's. Nobody gets a vote on it. And if I make a decision that's a bad one, it's my decision. It's not the food industry's fault. Their job is to sell things. It is not even at this point medical science's fault. Yeah, we've been sold a bill. There's a lot of corruption in research and so-called researchers who are funded by Coca-Cola. But if I know that and I know my body, and if I'd never read any research or knew it, if this was before any of this had ever come to light, if I knew I felt better eating this way and I felt worse eating the other way, it's on me to make those decisions. I had to come to grips with that. I used to tell myself, yeah, I know low carb works for me, but I can't see myself going the rest of my life without tortilla chips. I really like tortilla chips. But right now, I mean, not even right now, I don't think about them. I don't crave them. I don't want them. You could put a giant bag in front of a basket of them in front of me, and I have zero interest. Because why? Because if I eat them, I'm going to feel miserable, and I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to do that again. Okay. Hashtag Casey's pink drink. I get asked almost every time. Tall glass, full of ice. Diet tonic water, splash of diet cranberry, and a squeeze of lime. And I'm going to turn to the Seamus Commerce Division. As said the Car Talk guys, you do not have to buy one thing to be 100% successful at this protocol. There's no special food. If it says keto on the label, it's not. You don't have to buy anything. You just have to keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer. Total, not net. Don't eat if you're not hungry. And that kind of really takes care of it. But I will sell you a mug all day long. And I've got a Teespring store. Should be showing, hopefully, below the video. If not, I'll add it. But you can see my Teespring store and other ones. Lay off the carbs. Lay off the excuses. The Go Keto with Casey water bottle. All these you can also